Welcome back, fear fanatics. Horrorfest rages on, and tonight's tale is one that glows with terror. Old man Sampson spent his life digging holes and burying secrets. But when he unearths an ancient lantern with a sinister flame, he learns that some things refuse to stay buried. This light doesn't guide the way, it summons what lurks beneath. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications. Unless you want this story creeping up on you when you least expect it. And don't forget to smash that like button, or the lantern might just snuff you out instead. Now, let's set this trail ablaze. And I call this one the Lantern's Keeper. Enjoy.
Old man Sampson was the gravedigger of Bethal Cemetery, a hunched figure in a tattered coat. He'd been there so long folks swore he was part of the dirt. No one spoke to him, and he liked it that way. Until Halloween night, when everything changed. See, Sampson had a secret. Buried under an old crooked oak, he found an old lantern. Its glass cracked and glowing faintly green. When he lit it, the flame didn't flicker, and it pulsed like a heartbeat. He should have left it alone, but Sampson was lonely, and that light, it felt alive. He hung it on a hook in his shack, watching it glow brighter each night. By Halloween, it was blinding, casting shadows that withered like worms across the walls. That's when the first grave split open. Sampson stumbled outside, lantern in hand, as the soil churned. A bony arm crawled free, then another, a corpse. Old Miss Tilly, buried last spring, dragged herself up, her jaw hanging loose, maggots spilling from her throat. She didn't speak, she just stared at the lantern, her empty sockets glowing green. Then she lunged. Sampson swung a shovel, cracking her skull open. Black sludge oozed out, stinging of rot. But the lantern flared brighter, and more graves erupted. Hands busted through the dirt, some fresh, some just bone, grabbing at Sampson's leg. He ran, lantern swinging, its light pulling the dead up like moths to a flame. By midnight, the cemetery was a sea of shambling bodies. Sampson locked himself in his shack, panting, watching through the window as they scratched at the walls.
Why me?
He whispered. That's when he heard it. A voice from the lantern.
Feed me.
It hissed.
Souls make me burn.
Sampson's stomach dropped. He hadn't just lit a lantern. He had woken something ancient, something hungry. The dead broke through the door, clawing at him. He swung the lantern, smacking into a corpse's chest. Its ribs caved in, splitting guts that withered like snakes. But the light only grew. A skeleton hand grabbed his ankle, yanking him down. Teeth sank into his arm, tearing the flesh in wet, ragged strips. As he thrashed, the lantern's voice came again, louder now.
The last one burned out. Yell down.
The dead swarmed him, hands like iron, pulling him down. He clawed at the dirt, his fingers scraping deep furrows into the soil.
No, I didn't mean to.
Then, in the glow of the lantern, he saw his reflection in the glass. His face, it wasn't his anymore. The lantern had already chosen. The last thing Sampson saw was the earth swallowing him whole, then only silence. And the steady green pulse of the lantern, waiting for its next keeper. And by dawn, the cemetery was still again, but the lantern was gone. Days later, a kid named Eli found it, half buried near the creek. He was a troublemaker, and always poking where he shouldn't.
Cool,
he muttered, brushing off the mud. Eli struck a match and lit the lantern. The glow started small, pulsing like before. Eli grinned, holding it up, until he noticed something strange. The wind had stopped. The trees stood perfectly still. No rustling leaves, no chirping insects, just silence. A chill crept down his spine. He turned, scanning the woods. Nothing, just shadows stretching along in the flickering green light. But then, the ground beneath him gave a slow, shuddering shift. He took a step back.
What the?
The dirt trembled again. A crack splintered through the soil, widening. Then, from the darkness, a hand busted free. Eli grinned, holding it up until he heard the dirt shift behind him. He turned. Nothing.
Just the wind. Yeah, right.
But then the ground trembled, and a hand, Sampson's hand, gray and torn, clawed up, clutching a shovel caked in blood. Eli screamed, dropping the lantern. It hit the ground, glass shattering, and the flame exploded outward, bathing the woods in green. The dead came fast, and Sampson led them, his face half-eaten, one eye dangling by a thread. Eli ran, tripping over roots, but the light followed, hungry, relentless. It caught him by the creek, where his own shadow turned against him, clawing to his chest with inky fingers. They found Eli's body the next day, nor what was left of it. His ribs were pried open, heart gone, like something scooped it out. The lantern sat beside him, unlit, its glass whole again, waiting. Now the folks in Bethel whisper about the light in the woods. And if you see it glow on Halloween night, don't stop. Don't look, because the lantern's keeper is still hunting. And it's still hungry.
And that, my fiendish friend, brings our tale to a close. Looks like old man Sampson learned the hard way. You dig up the past, and it just might dig you up in return. And that lantern, let's just say it really knew how to light up the night and burn through a soul or two. But don't go running just yet. Horrorfest is far from over. Next week, we travel to West Union, where a bullied boy sets fire to his troubles, only to watch them rise from the ashes, stitched together with vengeance. A scarecrow should scare out the trouble, not come looking for revenge. Don't miss next week's horrifying harvesting, Effigy's Revenge. And if you enjoyed tonight's tale, share it with your friends. The more, the scarier. And tell me in the comments, if you found that lantern, would you light it? Or would you leave it buried where it belongs? Let's see who's brave and who's just smart. Until next time, remember, some lights never go out because they're too busy looking for their next victim.